Ciao a tutti e benvenuti all'ultimo episodio della prima stagione di Talkin'Around. È stata una stagione pazzesca, abbiamo parlato con un sacco di persone, abbiamo conosciuto un sacco di amici e con cui poi collaboreremo con i nostri progetti, li inseriremo nella nostra piattaforma, che da oggi è online, poi vi faremo vedere. E oggi abbiamo un ospite speciale. Per introdurlo chiamo qua con me Giovanni, che farà l'intervista insieme a noi. Giovanni, ci sei?
Certo che ci sono. Ciao ragazzi, ciao Francesco, un piacere.
Giovanni, benvenuto.
Tra l'altro, direttamente dall'Italia, rientrato,
Infatti,
ritornato a casa, incredibile.
Stavo dicendo, benvenuto sul nostro palco digitale, soprattutto bentornato in Italia. Oggi c'è Giovanni in vesti, non è con i colori sociali di Talkin'Around, non è in verde e in arancione, ma è in giallo e in blu.
Vesti direi semi-ufficiali, maglia da trasferta.
Esatto, perché oggi con chi andiamo a parlare?
Oggi abbiamo la fortuna di avere innanzitutto un mio caro amico che ormai da 4 anni conosco direttamente dalla Tanzania. Andremo a parlare con il presidente di un'associazione locale, un'associazione che si occupa di volontariato, di supporto ai ragazzi che vivono in condizioni di marginalità e vulnerabilità nelle zone remote della regione del Kilimanjaro, quindi a cavallo tra Kenya e Tanzania, di un ragazzo di 30 anni che però ha fatto dei grandi progetti con il quale abbiamo adesso iniziato una collaborazione. E insomma, direi che siamo vicini per poter iniziare a discuterne direttamente col nostro top player di oggi, il caro Mandela.
Alla grande, perché poi oggi presenteremo anche un progetto solidale del nostro programma Ghynwine Rando, che raccoglie una serie di iniziative di raccolte fondi in tutto il mondo per terzi, che noi come associazione coinvolgiamo i volontari per organizzarle e doniamo tutti i soldi che vengono raccolti alle realtà, alle cause che vogliamo sostenere. Quindi è una cosa molto importante che ci teniamo molto. Giovanni ha curato tutto quanto, quindi niente, io andrei in sigla.
Siamo pronti?
Andiamo. Ciao Giovanni.
A dopo, Fra. Talkin'Around Season 1. I'm switching again to English. I'm sorry for my friends that are not speaking English, but as our host and guest for today is straight from Tanzania, we'll use our second language. So first of all, hi to everyone. I am Giovanni. I'm hosting the interview for today, our last interview for the second season of Talkin'Around. So today we will have the biggest pleasure for myself as we will talk with a friend of mine, but we will have the opportunity to talk with one of our partners who works directly in Tanzania and in Kenya, close to the Kilimanjaro region. His name is Ghynwine, but we call him Mandela because that's the name that he used for his friend and in his community. And he is a guy who's 31 and who is the president of an NGO, a local association in Tanzania, who deals with education and support for kids who live in vulnerable and marginalized environments in Tanzania and in Kenya, from rural areas. And he mostly managed with this project to support those kids. So I think that now we can directly introduce our guest. And I will ask to introduce Mandela here with us, if it's possible. And there we go. Hello, my friend. Ciao, Mandela. How are you?
I'm fine, brother.
Thank you so much. It's a big pleasure. I was introducing yourself, saying that first of all, we are very good friends before then being partner. And I wanted to introduce you to our community and say hello, first of all, and say that you are most welcome and we are very thankful for having you today here with us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
And as you can see, so me and Mandela, just a brief introduction, we met ourselves about 4 years ago on the base ground of Kilimanjaro when I was volunteering and I was traveling in Tanzania at the time. We made a great great friendship at the time. And when I was there, he showed to me a little bit of the projects that he was doing at the time in the schools and to support the kids. He showed me around. We became very, very close friends. He gave me this beautiful present as a bracelet that I still wear. And so this year, since we opened our association, we got in contact again, me and Mandela, because we started to talk about a project and an opportunity that we could have worked on together. But we will discuss about that later. Because first of all, I wanted to hear a little bit from Mandela. I know his story, but I would like Mandela to tell us a little bit of his personal background. To introduce yourself a little bit, if you can tell us something about yourself, we are all here to hear happily.
Okay, my name is Mandela. That's how they call me. It is my local name. But my official names are Ghynwine Rando. My community calls me Mandela. I am 33 years old, but I grew up mostly from the street. My parents passed away my mother passed away when I was 3 years old, but I wasn't lucky enough to see my father. So I grew up mostly on the street, and then later I was raised by an orphanage. The orphanage name was called Mkombozi, which means a savior. That Mkombozi is a Swahili word, it means a savior. So the center that raised me was called Mkombozi. They took me when I was 7 years old. So from 3 to 7, it was more on the street, from this family to that family. And then from this orphanage, it is where I was able to go to primary school. So the orphanage paid for my primary school. And then after I passed my primary school, still with the orphanage, I went to secondary school, which is the system here in Africa. So I was still studying in Tanzania. We have 6 grades, 7 grades in primary school and 6 grades in secondary school. So my 4 grades in secondary school, I went in Tanzania. I went to secondary school called Same. It is still within Kilimanjaro region in Tanzania. And then I was able to get a scholarship to go to high school in Kenya. So at first I went to a school called Xaverian. It is another town, not the main city, Nairobi. The town is called Kisumu. But later I got other sponsorship to study in international school in Uganda. So there I went I completed my A levels, which is advanced levels of secondary education. While I was when I was studying in high school in Uganda, it is when I started working with an organization in Kenya. It is called TAISA, which stands for Trans-Nzoia Youth Sports Association. So this organization deals with community support, mostly vulnerable youth, both boys and girls. So they support them through education, through empowerment projects that will bring in some income. And they do all this through sport. So football is the main tool for them to bring these youth together, both boys and girls. And then it is when they discuss different projects that will touch them or will help the community. So I started working with them when I was still in secondary school in Uganda, and I knew the founder because the founder used to work in the organization that raised me. So this is how I knew the founder of TAIS. From the high school, I passed. It was 2008. I passed to go to university, but unfortunately, I didn't get scholarship. I didn't get sponsors to go to university. So I had to work and volunteer for 2 years. So 2009, 2010, I was volunteering with different organizations, mostly orphanages and schools in both Kenya and Tanzania. But then fortunately in 2010, through the project that I was working with, they were building a school for blind children in Kilimanjaro, Tanzania. And then I went to help to work with them. Then later they realized I didn't go to school because I didn't have sponsors. So they paid for my education in university. So again, I went to university in Tanzania, which is called Tumaini University. Tumaini means hope. So Tumaini is Swahili, but it means hope. So the university is like Hope University, but it's called Tumaini University. So there I studied community development, where I took about 43 courses, from project planning, research, accountancy, IT. I took all this. The course took me 3 years. And then during my time at the university, which is in Iringa, which is another region in Tanzania, I used to volunteer again with community projects through the municipal city council of Iringa. So after that, I was able to graduate in 2013, October. So it is when I finished, but we graduated in December. Then I went back to Moshi, where I lived most of my life before that. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I have to look for a job. And now I've finished the university. I have to look for a job and move on, because I'm no longer under the organization that raised me. Actually, the organization collapsed. It collapsed when I was still in high school. That's why I had to look for other sponsors. And then I started coming up with this idea of hosting volunteers. So I got the first job as a researcher with the company called Macquarie Oil and Gas Company, which was based in Singapore and South Africa. They were looking for investment opportunity in Tanzania, and I happened to get a job as a research assistant. So the money that I got from that job, which I did for like 6 months, I decided to rent a house to host the volunteers and tourists, because Kilimanjaro is full of backpackers and tourists. So from there, and I think even Giovanni, it's at one point he stayed in my hostel. So
yes,
yeah. So when I was starting this business, I was like, okay, because I receive a lot of volunteers who work in other organizations, and some good people, some backpackers who are willing to support in community projects, I will want to achieve one of my dreams, which is to start organization to support children through education and vulnerable street youth, mostly boys and girls, through self-reliant skills like making jewelries, like doing painting, doing music for those who are interested in music, do anything that will bring them some income. And for children, try to look for sponsors and support them through education, like buy them books, uniforms, and connect them with like primary school, like cheap local primary schools.
Yeah.
So this is when I established the Komboa organization. So you can see I was raised by Mkombozi organization, which Mkombozi means a savior. And then later on, I established the Komboa organization, and Komboa means save.
Yeah.
So a savior is Mkombozi in Swahili. Komboa means save in Swahili. So my name was linked with the organization that raised me. And it was my dream that one day I give back the community. Because I was raised in this organization who I wanted later to be support children through other organizations. This is how I started this organization, and most people who used to support this organization primarily are the tourists, the backpackers, and volunteers who used to come to stay in my small hostel, which are the few rooms. It are like 5 rooms. That is how I started the organization, and that's, I can say, my life story in short, unless you ask me more questions, Giovanni.
Dear Mandela, it was... thank you so much, because starting from that story you told, I think that we have introduced yourself to our audience properly. It's an amazing story, and I've told you multiple times, because from an extreme and very vulnerable background, from an orphanage, with a lot of difficulties, from coming literally from living in the street for like 4 or 5 years, you managed to...
Actually, I lived on the street for 10 years.
You know, it's a long time. And I think that it's the very interesting fact of your story, also of the fact that you achieve a lot of great things from difficult background, is that but you can see that by following a process, an education that you engage with since the beginning, you manage really to change the future for yourself, and also to build up activities, projects, and organizations that support the primary causes and needs of your people, of your country. That is amazing, because it's a story of a journey from the difficulties to a great achievement. In such regard, I would like to ask you, because your association, Combo Association, this organization, I know it personally, I know the big and the great good that has done throughout the years. I know because you told me a lot of things. I would like you to tell us, to the community, what are the areas of impact of your association in Tanzania? What were the main projects that you deal with, and who you support mostly during your period of activity? So from 2013 till now, what were the main activities you promoted with Combo organization?
Okay, brother. So one of the main activities that we were doing, or we are trying to achieve, was education for the street youth. So when we started the organization, we started with youth just fresh from the street, where we used to provide them lunch. As a result, they had to come to study. So if they wanted lunch, they have to come to study for at least 1 hour or 2 hours to earn lunch. So in that way, we were trying to give them some knowledge which will help them to earn income on the street instead of begging. So in that project, most of the youth have become porters. They are escorting tourists in Mount Kilimanjaro, because we taught them English, how to talk English with the tourists, because for the porters, they don't need main skills. They only need English to be able to communicate, and they have to be physically strong to be able to help with the bags and other stuff. So that one we achieved, and most of the youth are now doing that business. They are employed as porters, where they escort tourists to the Mount Kilimanjaro. And we were doing music and dance for the youth who were interested in doing that. And now we have 3 youth that were supported by Komboa, who are now employed in Makumira University in Arusha as dancers. So they are dancers in that university in a project called Cultural Conservation Project, where they are trying to teach different students from different universities in different countries to come and join and learn the Tanzanian culture through music and dance. And also we have some of the girls who are working with different hotels. But again, we did one big project. It was 2016. It was a farming project. We rented a farm. It was 15 hectares. And then we grew maize and beans so that we could give food donations to the families of the kids that we were supporting, So we harvested 6.5 ton of maize and beans. And this project was supported by Go Campaign. Go Campaign is a very big organization that works to support different small organizations around the world. So I was able to apply for the project, for this farming project, and then I won the fund. It was about 7,000 USD. They gave it to me, and then we were able to achieve that project. So we started from the scratch. We did the farming, and then we harvested. And then another thing that we were doing and we were able to achieve was to look for sponsors for some of the kids that were in need of education sponsorship. And through this, as I said, I used to receive a lot of volunteers and tourists in my hostel. I was able to connect about maybe 70 children with different sponsors, and now they are in different schools.
That's pretty amazing, my friend. I know that when I visited your hostel, I saw directly all this process of volunteering, coming and leaving to join one of the different projects that you were sponsoring, because you moved on different areas, as you mentioned, from community intervention to education, support of kids in big need. It's a big system, the one that you have managed to structure in Moshi. That I remember, to the people who do not know, Moshi is the third or fourth biggest city, one of the biggest city in Tanzania. It's not very, very big, but there's a regular amount of not only tourists, but also people from Africa that travel within it. It's at the base of the Kilimanjaro on the north of Tanzania, and it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. And on such regard, I wanted to ask you, from your experience, how was the relationship with the volunteers that you were involving? Did you have some positive experiences of volunteers coming to you, join your projects and being able to work proactively, or did you have problems with the volunteers?
I will say that in general, my personal experience with the volunteers was very positive. Positive. The only challenges that we had, we know that people, especially volunteers who come from Europe, environment, very different background. I mean, the kind of problems that you have in Europe is totally different problems that we have in. And therefore, one of the big problems that they will face was things like cultural shock, language barrier, and also sometimes when they think this was our problem. For example, if some volunteers come thinking that they are coming to solve certain problems in Africa, for example, countries like in Tanzania, there are very few countries in Africa where you will say there is insecurity. So most people in Africa are friendly, and we are so close and touchy, and this can be like sometimes irritating to Europeans, because we are very when we talk, we have a lot of touching and being so close and and some volunteers will be kind of shocked with this. But I will say some challenges that we had was some volunteers coming in and have no experience of the environment that they are coming to work. So they end up more with playing with the children instead of doing the impact, like teaching, like teaching something or trying to do something. So they end up playing, or sometimes they think more about a safari, visiting these different attraction centers and stuff. But that one, I will say, it is not a problem, because whenever we had volunteers, we were taking some few. For example, if we have a volunteer staying for 6 months or for 2 months, we will take some time to teach them what is going on and how we want them to help or involve, so that we can work together. So that is the reason I said 90% was positive. Only 10% was a problem. And sometimes, especially when I was dealing with the street youth, you have situations whereby volunteers fall in love with the street youth. So they fall in love with the people that they have to change. But that was not a problem because we were trying to help them. They are humans. We were dealing with adults and they are adults. So we were just trying to help them, to make sure that we bring more impact rather than going out of the focus. Otherwise, everything was good.
Yeah,
that is my experience.
Yeah, no, I remember, and that's, in my opinion, that is realistically connected to my experience, because one of the main issues with the volunteers sometimes is related to the cultural shock and to the fact that there are some requests that sometimes are different from what the volunteers expect to do, because and this is one of the priority of our association of Planning Around, is to provide a formation, a responsibilization of the process of giving to a volunteer the skills and the tools to then do something that is not a travel, but is something that it need to be structured to help the reality where you're going. And that's very important to, as you were saying, to receive some formation and to some support also from the people that receive the volunteers, so from your organization. So you talk about support of the kids and adults in the street, education, working community support. That is a lot of things going on, and I think very important to have also volunteers involved above all in the process of the education, because you can open up a little bit, of course, the view and the experience of the people who are connected. In such regard, I think that we had fair time to discuss of your story, your background, and the amazing thing that you have achieved on your life. We talked a little bit of school, of education, and now I would like to discuss about the main topic of our interview, that is the project on which we have decided to collaborate together. So I will give a brief introduction, and so then you can explain better the details. But we, our team of Planning Around, and our friend Mandela, we decided to collaborate as to promote a fundraising campaign aimed to support the teaching and the education of the English language in the schools that are collaborating and partnering with Mandela. So we have decided to try to collect the money to donate as many English textbooks that we can to the students of some very rural and out of reach schools of the region of Mandela, that is the Kilimanjaro region between Kenya and Tanzania, as I mentioned before. And we decided to donate for free, to collect the money to donate for free, this new English textbook. So all this idea came from of course, the work and the connection of our friend Mandela, because he came up to us with this idea. We discussed it together in the last 3 weeks, and we decided to collaborate. So now, as we discussed of how important, and we saw on your experience, Mandela, how important education and especially the teaching of English in youngsters in Kenya and Tanzania nowadays can represent. Can you tell us a little bit about where the idea for this project came from and why learning English is so important for your point of view in the daily context of Kenya and Tanzania?
First of all, I will say that the learning of English language as a language in Africa or in Tanzania and Kenya and anywhere else where people don't speak this language is very important, because English is one of the languages that connect millions of people and brings millions of people together. I will say is maybe the first or second language that is mostly spoken by many people around the world. Tanzania itself is a tourist attraction center in East and Central Africa. One of the biggest parks and the tallest mountain, Kilimanjaro, is found in Tanzania. and it's within the border, I will say, Tanzania and Kenya. So teaching people English will connect them with so many tourists, will bring them connection to so many people from other countries, let's say Europe, let's say Asia, let's say America. And by learning this, it is improving their lives. For example, when we were teaching the youth, the street youth who we found from the street, when we were teaching them English through Komboa, they were later be able to be employed by the mountain climbing associations, and now they are working. So English brought them some income. When you speak English, you are able to tell people your problems. I speak English with you. I don't speak Italian. So at least it is better. If I don't speak Italian and speak English, we are able to communicate, and I'm able to tell you my story and the story of my community. English helps people to go forward, to progress with other systems. For example, if you know English as a language, you will be able to learn computer because most of the computer instructions are in English. If you know English, you will be able to do the financial transactions because most of the banking systems, most of the machines, if you want to become machine operator, they have these instructions in English. We don't produce machines here in Tanzania, where we can write them in Swahili. They come from Europe, and they come with English instructions. So learning English not only help people or help children and youth to connect with the world, but also to improve them through future opportunities, like jobs, like further studies when they want to go to universities and stuff. So I came up with this idea, like in Kenya is mainly English-speaking country. So the main focus was in Tanzania, although it was in my region, Kilimanjaro, because of the number of tourists and foreign people that we get in the country. But it was in Tanzania because there is a big problem of English in Tanzania. Like most of the education system, unless you are lucky to go to private schools, but for government schools, English is a problem, and this contributes to the big number of failures because you have only one subject which is taught in English in primary school, and you have about 7 or 8 subjects which are taught in Swahili. And then these are 7 years of learning. I can say from the nursery school, so it's like 10 years of learning where you are taught only in Swahili and then only one subject in English. Then when you go to secondary system, abruptly everything change. You have to learn everything in English and then only one subject in Swahili if you opt to start that subject. So this is crazy. You cannot pass from nowhere 7 or 10 subjects in English while you were studying everything in Swahili. Therefore, these children or students, they have to have a good foundation of this language before they start to learn it in English. And this was a big problem. Some of my friends, like schoolmates who failed when we were in secondary school, they failed because of the system. They could not speak English or they couldn't connect. We have so many people in Tanzania who don't speak English or they don't understand well English. Even some of them are our leaders. When you look at their interviews in English, it is crazy. So, and one crazy story is that when I was in primary school, because I liked studying, funny enough, they had to skip me about 3 grades when I was in primary to go to the higher grades because I was very fast and I liked to study. As a result, I knew how to study before knowing how to write. Because I used to ask everything, what is this and what is this? And I didn't like playing football. because most of our community children play football. So my main game was dictionary game, like reading what is the meaning of this, what is the meaning of that. So what happened when I was in grade 5, which is primary 5, my teacher was trying to explain to us the meaning of shivering. So he gave us the meaning of shivering. When you translate it in Swahili of like what he gave us, he said it was sweating. So I had to argue with him like 30 minutes while other students are there. And then at the end of the day, I got punished for arguing with the teacher because the word which she was trying to translate was totally different from what I knew. And then we had to bring the dictionary, and then I was correct. So this was embarrassment to the teacher. And then I must do something about this, whether in the future, whether it is writing book or it is writing something to help children expand the. So you can see that English is a very big problem in Tanzania as my country. And it will connect them with the job opportunities or when they go to high school. This is the reason why I came up with this idea. And the book that I came up with is the book for junior level, for children, mostly targeting primary school, because in primary school it is where English is a big problem. At least in university and secondary, we are taught in English, but in primary schools, it is very difficult for people to access like book, for children to access like books and stuff like that, especially poor children, because for the rich one, they can buy these books in libraries and stuff.
Yes, so that's all correct, and it's very amazing. So basically, you came up with a couple of problems of quality of English teachings in the system, and on the other side, the problem of those areas that had not enough money to provide the textbooks of English. So a double problem, and you decided to come up with a solution that was writing up a textbooks of English with the support of the teachers, of course, of the areas of the school, so that you can provide a very efficient work, and to try with our support also with the sponsors to provide the fund, so the money to give for free those books to the kids. And in my opinion, this is it's an amazing idea because it's a solution for two problems with the support of course, other people, other communities to spread the voice. Also, the interesting fact that I've found in analyzing the textbooks that you have sent to us to check is the fact that the type of exercises, the structure of the book is very innovative, because you deal with grammar, but at the same time you deal with learning how to communicate, how to use English as a resource. There are a lot of exercises of creative writing, listening and talking, dialogue, a lot of reading. These type of exercises, from what you told me, are very different from what usually was taught in the English textbooks. So that also could maximize the level of quality of English in those areas where it was very difficult to teach English. It's an amazing idea. And in such regard, I wanted to ask to you how eventually the work of these books in the schools, if donated, so if any kids can use the textbook, how that can improve also the capacity of finding a job or having future studies for those students who are very isolated, who maybe came from very difficult backgrounds, and that will have this resource. So I wanted to ask you if that could be very helpful for them, not too helpful, or how could improve the situation.
First of all, I will say that the book I use like a very easy and very easy strategy, and it is a little bit technical and attractive means of ways that will make children be attracted to learn in that book, because you can see sometimes I use stories, sometimes I use real community problems in that book, so that, and sometimes I use jokes in that book so that it can be a little bit interesting for the kids to learn. The problems that we are going to solve here is that, one, especially in Tanzania, since I said most of the lessons are taught in Swahili, and then when they go to secondary school, everything is taught in English. So first, we are going to increase the number of students who will pass the high level of studies because by the time they go there and then they have this kind of preparations in the language, when they go to the high school, it will be easier for them to study other lessons which are written or which are taught in English. So we are going to increase the level of performance. And by increasing the level of performance, you are increasing the level of intellectuals. By increasing the level of intellectuals, you are increasing the chances of creating job opportunities, or of creating people who will be able to be employed later. So that is one problem that we are going to solve. But again, you can see in that book, I try to address social problems like equality, like FGM. There are some sentences I use. For example, I try to teach students about equality, and then I say, let's say, maybe I want to teach children how to use the word equality, and then I say, women and men are both equal. No one should be discriminated against. So when they are learning that, it comes to their brain that, okay, we are learning equality as a word, but again, in the real sense, women and men are equal. Yeah, I try to say things like, let's say FGM. I say female genital mutilation is very bad for this, maybe for girls' health and this. So they are learning English, how to pronounce things, how to use words in sentence. But again, they are learning that FGM or female genital mutilation is not good in the community. And sometimes I try to bring issues like democracy, So again, I'm trying to address different social problems that are in our community by teaching the children from the young age to see that this is not right. And then they start to think, again, because I use some kind of jokes, I use some kind of vivid examples. This makes it more interesting for the children themselves to learn and make stories out of it and remember what they have studied.
Of course, Mandela, that is one of the reasons we got extremely excited and motivated by your proposal is reflected by the fact that the aim and the structure of the exercise is very innovative, is very functional as to change the way of learning of the kids and the way of being able to not only learn but apply those skills. As you were mentioning, the quality of the quality of the teaching provided through this book could be a very, very interesting resource. I wanted to thank you in advance for the big job that you've done. We are talking about a book of around 300 pages. It's a very, very structured and big work. We will be able to share with the people who will be interested in support us the information of the books. There will be chance for anyone to see the details. Also, because this idea and the quality of the textbook, it's amazing, and hopefully we'll be able to use it even in other contexts, as well as thanking you for helping us to connect together, to work together, so that eventually in the future, when this terrible situation of coronavirus will be finalized and closed, we will potentially be able to visit the school of the kids where we brought the books, and we'll eventually be able to work together to bring some volunteering projects together. Even because we are talking about the aim of helping around 50 schools. That's our target. So with our fundraising campaign to help about 50 schools between Kenya and Tanzania of the rural in the rural areas, and trying to support a total of 3,000 kids. So that will be our target for this particular fundraising campaign, with an amazing story in the background and the possibility to provide a concrete help and support. As for all our audience, you can find all the information. Now we will see that with Francesco, but you can find all this information on our website. There are the details of this campaign that they go under the Giving Around Books campaign. This is the name of our campaign to support our friend Mandela and the community and the schools in Tanzania and Kenya. And I generally, as the campaign is open, I generally hope that we will be able to start and to implement this change now together, and for the future even better. So I think that now we are almost at the end of our interview. I would like, of course, to thank you, Mandela, but I want our dear president, Francesco, to join us back so that he can say goodbye to you by himself too. And but thank you so much, Mandela. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome, brother.
I'm not the president of anyone. I want to clarify this.
Yes.
No, Mandela, please stay with us for a few moments, because I have a question. I have a question to you, and then I want to explain. Okay, how. First of all, thank you so much to share with us your fantastic story and your fantastic works. Okay, so you do a lot of things just with your effort, just with involving the people of your community, and the community you belong. And I want to show. First of all, I want to show our website. Okay, so because we do this new website. Okay, for that collects all the purposes for volunteering. Okay, where the people can see many voluntary activity all around the world, not just with us, because we have a project for planning around, but also for other association. We met also in with this experience in Talkin'Around, and in our website in this page you can now, okay, today you can donate for the campaign, for the Giving Around Books campaign. Okay, it's quite simple. So you can go to the page, and at planninaround.org fundraising and the page that now is running. You can donate. You can for Giving Around Books. All the I want to say that all the money we raise with this campaign, okay, will go directly for Mandela and for this cause. Because Mandela, you've written, you collaborated to written the books. You print the books, and the donation will go to. You deliver. Then at the end you deliver the books, but for the donation we will go for the printing. Okay, how much does a printed book cost?
Yeah, our rough estimate is $2 per book.
Okay, so you see that with very few money, okay, we can donate for a child, okay, a new opportunity and a new way to learn a very important language. Mandela, you received during this interview a lot of compliments, okay, from our friends from all over the world, also from Yelena, our friends. Okay, so you have to be proud of you, and of course you have to be proud of you, because you show with your story that with your effort and with your purpose and following your path, okay, your aim, you can make your project also directly, not just for yourself, but for your community and for fighting social issue. So I want to ask you, which is for you the most important things that the children and the students in the school of in every school of the world should learn from the school during their studying period?
Hello. Yeah, I think I didn't get you well because sometimes you are going off.
Sorry, Mandela. No, I asked you, which is for you the most important things that the students from the school of all over the world should learn when for the people for the students that have the possibility, because going to school is not is a possibility that not all the people have. Okay, so the people that have the possibility to go to school, what they should learn, which is the most important things for you?
I will say that everything that people choose to learn is important based on their interest, because we find problems in so many areas and we need solution in so many areas, and to have these solutions we must study about the problems and we must come up with a new strategy based on different experiences where we tested this and that. So everything is important to learn, no matter whether people choose science or choose to become teachers or choose to become sportsmen like football or whatever. Everything is important as long as you can find a solution to certain problems, whether in your community or in the world. And for me, I say problems, things that will solve general problems in the community or society or the world, because if you study something that will only solve your own problem, then you are selfish and the world needs you. You know, we found the world with so many development and we need to continue to develop it so that other future generation can learn. But again, I will say it is very important to concentrate on, for example, while you are doing the normal education, it is also better to study something that you can do on your own, like what I call self-reliant skills. For example, you are studying to become a teacher, but again, as a side experience, you can try to do art. Because sometimes if you are not employed as a teacher, you can use art to get some income. When I finished, I did community development, but when I finished, I didn't have a job. But I knew at least how to make some jewelries, which I used to make and sell to tourists. I knew how to do some weaving, like this one I'm wearing is something that I made of myself, something like this I make by myself. And then that one give you some income and some ways to move on. So I will say that in general, learning everything is important as long as you have interest in that, and then that is what you want to do.
Fantastic. Learning everything is important. Fantastic phrase, fantastic motto. Okay, fantastic motto to close this interview. Okay, I hope that you inspire someone. But in this case, also Yelena, okay, say to us we can collect books in Estonia too. Giovanni, we can do it. Can we do it?
I am on the first plane to Tallinn to collect the book by tomorrow. Of course we will. Thank you so much, Yelena. We will get in contact so we can see how can we collaborate on that.
It's fantastic because also a great thing for a story is also to inspire, not just to explain, but also to inspire. A fantastic thing. For closing, exactly. we can show our motto, our phrase that is the greatness is to build bridges between people. I hope with this with this short chat talks with each other, we build a bridge, okay, and they show our little world of planning around, okay.
Let's see if the word can pass for the last of the talking around interview. If
exactly,
I would like to see.
I want to make this these phases. I pass to Giovanni, and Giovanni pass to you, Mandela. Okay. We didn't make some proof, so
let's see.
We can try it.
Okay.
Giovanni.
Let's see. Yes, we did catch them all for the last interview.
And for you?
And there we go.
Yeah.
yes, Mandela, my friend.
So
great.
Good the first, and then Mandela. Bye bye. See you as soon as possible. I hope.
Yes, of course.
Bye-bye.
We'll keep in touch.
It was a
We'll
pleasure
keep
to
in
talk
touch with
to you.
everything. Now our work starts. We'll start from today. The campaign is on. Anyone can donate. Tutti possono donare da oggi. So I think we are ready to start our beautiful project together. So support Giving Around Books. And I think that we're ready to say goodbye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Grazie Mandela. Sempre.
Bye bye. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Have a pleasant
Bye.
Sunday. Buona
Thank you.
domenica.